One warm Friday evening, I was sitting with three of my oldest friends around a fire pit. The night was calm, laughter floated in the air, and for the first time in months, I felt truly at peace. A cold beer in hand, I leaned back, soaking in the moment, until my phone buzzed. The screen lit up. Tessa, wife. Odd. We had spoken earlier that day, and everything seemed fine. Still, I answered. Hey babe, what's up? Her tone was icy, deliberate, laced with amusement. Don't babe me. I'm calling to let you know I'm divorcing you. Effective immediately. The papers will be filed Monday. The words hung in the air. Before I could even respond, she continued, her voice dripping with smug satisfaction. And before you ask, yes, I sold our business. The buyer has already wired the money. I'm taking my half and starting over with Derek. Derek. My former business partner. A man I once trusted like a brother. Her laugh rang sharp through the phone, theatrical and cruel. You should have paid more attention, Michael. You were always buried in numbers and systems. You forgot about the woman next to you. My friend stared at me, trying to read my face. I felt the fire's heat, but inside, an icy wave of betrayal crashed down. I took a slow sip of beer, let the silence linger, and said calmly, good for you. She hesitated, clearly expecting anger or desperation. She got neither. I ended the call, turned to my friends, and said quietly, I think I need to head home. When I pulled into the driveway, the headlights swept across the house I had built with my own two hands. Every brick and beam carried my sweat and sacrifice. And there she was, Tessa, standing on the porch with a glass of wine, lips curled in a smug half-smile. Derek leaned casually against the railing like he owned the place. Back so soon, she taunted. That was fast. Didn't even beg. I looked at her once, then turned to Derek. Good to see you again, partner, I said evenly. He smirked. You think you're owed an explanation? Not at all, I replied, unlocking the door. Just here to grab a few things. Inside, the house looked ransacked. My office was gutted. The safe stood open. The joint accounts were cleared out. Even my father's old watch, the one I kept in the study, was gone. When I returned to the living room, Tessa stood there with arms folded, hips cocked in mock confidence. You're not going to make a scene, are you? Why would I? I shrugged. You sold the business, right? Exactly. And everything is perfectly legal. I even have Derek's lawyer on retainer. Don't worry, you'll get your half. Derek chuckled. Assuming you don't blow it all crying into your beers. They both laughed. I gave a polite smile. Right. Just one question. Tessa raised a brow. What? When did you sign the sale agreement? She frowned. 2 days ago. Why? I twisted open a bottle of water, taking my time. Because 3 days ago, I legally moved all intellectual property and software rights into my name. Fully documented, notarized. You sold a company shell. Her face paled. Derek's grin faltered. What the hell are you talking about? She snapped. I reached into my coat and laid a folded document on the counter. This is the transfer agreement. The product, the back-end systems, the analytics tool Derek was so proud of, it all belongs to me now. The buyer you just duped? They're about to learn they paid for an empty box. Tessa lunged for the papers, her eyes scanning in panic. This can't be real. I would have noticed. I tilted my head. No. You were too busy sneaking around with Derek. The next morning, I walked into Price & Walton Holdings, the firm that had just acquired what they thought was our company. The lobby gleamed with glass and marble. The receptionist greeted me warmly and led me to a glass-walled boardroom. Gregory Price, the man who believed he'd bought a gold mine, didn't waste time. You're here about the acquisition, he said. Yes, I replied, placing a leather folder on the table. You'll want to see this before your legal team finishes their review. He flipped through the documents, his brow tightening with each page, asset transfers, patent filings, licensing agreements, all showing that the intellectual property, code base, infrastructure, everything essential belonged solely to me. When he finished, his jaw was tight. So what you're saying is, we bought an empty company. Exactly, I said evenly. Your purchase includes nothing operational. The code, the analytics, the customer data, even engine access, it's all under licenses I control. And your wife didn't know? He asked. I allowed myself a small smile. She never cared about the legal side. She was focused on the finish line. Price leaned back in his chair, exhaling slowly. I assume you're here to offer a solution. I am, I said. I'll license the full IP back to you, for triple the original purchase price. He raised an eyebrow. Triple? Call it a tax on ignorance, I said. And betrayal. He studied me for a long moment, then chuckled. You're ruthless. No, I replied calmly. Just smart. Something my ex underestimated. He leaned forward and said, You've got a deal. Meanwhile, back at my place, Tessa and Derek were lounging on the patio, sipping mimosas and soaking in what they thought was a victory. Then her phone buzzed. An email from Gregory Price. Subject, terminating acquisition. Assets fraudulent. Your actions are under legal review. Expect contact from our attorneys. Before she could process that, another notification popped up, this time from the IRS. Your accounts are frozen pending investigation of suspicious business transfer activity. Her face drained of color. No, this isn't happening. The phone slipped from her hand. Derek's expression hardened. What did you do? She didn't answer. She just snatched the car keys and bolted. I'm going to find him. She tore through traffic until she reached my new co-working office. She pounded on the glass walls like a storm, attracting stares from everyone inside. Michael, open the damn door. I didn't move. I let her rage outside while I calmly typed the final clause in a licensing agreement with Price's firm. Then, without a word, I smiled at the receptionist and pressed the door unlock button. She stormed in, eyes blazing. What the hell did you do? You sabotaged everything. My accounts are frozen, the deal's collapsing, and Price's legal team is coming after me for fraud. I looked at her, really looked at her. Wild eyes, smudged makeup, hair in knots. This wasn't the woman I married. That woman died the day she decided Derek was worth more than loyalty. You sabotaged yourself, Tessa, I said evenly. I just gave gravity a little nudge. She clenched her fists. You want revenge? Fine, you've got it. But give me something. Half the deal. My share of the company. Anything. I walked to the filing cabinet, pulled out a sealed envelope, and handed it to her. Here. This is what you're entitled to. She ripped it open like it was oxygen. But inside was just a copy of the prenup, the one she signed 5 years ago when she said she didn't care about money, just us. The key line, bold and undeniable. Any business assets founded or developed by Michael Carter prior to or during the marriage shall remain his sole and undisputed property. Her face went white. This wasn't in the version I saw. That's because Derek had the final draft removed from your view. I kept the signed copy and made sure the notary filed theirs, too. You're lying. Check with your lawyer. Before she could respond, there was a knock at the door. 2 agents stood there, badges out. Tessa Carter, you're being served. IRS and civil fraud proceedings. She looked at me, horror spreading across her face. You turned me in. I gave her a thin smile. No. Your name was on the fraudulent sale contract, not mine. Tessa fought hard at first. She hired a lawyer, a PR firm, even a crisis manager. But once the story went public, there was no saving it. The business world adores success, but it devours betrayal. Screenshots of her emails with Derek leaked, thanks to an anonymous tip from someone inside her circle. Messages bragging about how she planned to milk the idiot husband dry and flip the company like an old couch. They went viral across LinkedIn, Reddit, and business forums. One headline dominated the feeds, from CEO to cautionary tale, the woman who tried to steal a business and lost everything. Even Derek bailed on her. When Price's firm came after them for damages, he threw her under the bus, claiming she masterminded the whole scam. She was left with lawsuits, an IRS audit, and a reputation in ruins. The empire she tried to build off my back crumbled to dust. The power couple fantasy with Derek? Gone. Her smug confidence replaced by a hollow stare. Meanwhile, I rebuilt quietly. Price's team offered me a consulting gig. I declined. Instead, I launched something new. Leaner. Smarter. Mine alone. The licensing revenue from my IP set me up for life. But the best part? Peace. No more walking on eggshells. No more questioning loyalty. One evening, I sat in a coffee shop, polishing a proposal for a real partner, Emma. Someone I'd met at a low-key tech event months ago. Brilliant, grounded, the kind of woman who never needed to dim someone else's light to shine. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Michael, it's me. Please. I'm lost. I have nothing. I made a mistake. Please just talk to me. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I pressed block. I never saw her again. But now and then, people would whisper about a woman seen haunting courtrooms, her once glamorous face now worn with regret. And sometimes, at networking events, someone would ask, "Hey, aren't you the guy whose ex tried to steal everything and lost it all?" I'd just smile. No. I'm the guy who saw it coming and let gravity do the rest.